Today we're going to kind of change things up a little bit and have a much more interactive class. In fact, very little lecture and a lot more interaction. And the topic today is really going to be dealing with collaboration. And you all know that science is a very social activity, and granting is particularly a social activity. And for those of you that are applying to or have received grants or in the process of developing your proposal for the class, you know that very seldom, if ever, are you the only person directing that project. That as the project director moving that forward, you are relying on resources, other people, to make sure that your grant, your project is ultimately successful. And even in your graduate career, you're relying on so many other people to make your life easier, facilitate your learning, and also make your career kind of be jump-started here at the University of Florida. So really excited to have Bess DeFarber, who's the library grants manager here today. Bess is sort of the architect behind that online portal that we went over last time from the UF library system. That is the kind of the one-stop shopping site for grant resources. It's a great resource that the University of Florida library system has developed, one of the leading ones in the nation right now. It has really raised the bar for the availability of information to both the student and faculty body here at the university. So I'm really pleased that Bess can come and talk to us. And like I said, we're going to be a little more hands-on today, much more interactive. So I hope you embrace the activity. It's going to build upon the video that you all watched from the last class. And so please have fun with the activity and use it as a great learning experience. And take advantage of Bess's time while she's here.
Okay, great. So my background and expertise is in grantsmanship, but in the nonprofit sector. And helping people connect resources. There's a lot of scarcity out there in terms of what people don't have, right? So this workshop, I'm calling it a workshop. It's a seminar class, but I have it more designed as a workshop. Is to try to get your mind to change. So how many of you can, at this moment, tell me what you need, what you don't have? Tell me that if you think you have a list of the things that you need in your life, in your work, in your schooling, raise your hand if you think you know what you don't have. Okay, most of you don't know what you don't have. Usually I have 100% of the people in the class say, I can tell you what I don't have, what I need, what I'm lacking. How many of you need money? Excuse me? How many of you need money? Okay. Which is why you're taking the class, right? Okay, so that's what you don't have. You also don't have lab. Do you have a lab? How many of you don't have a lab? Raise your hand. Okay, so we're trying to get some interaction here. Thank you. So if I were to ask you, how many of you know the universe of what you do have? Raise your hand. Usually this is the problem. You know the universe of what you have. Okay, so this is the situation that I'd like to get your frame of reference. Okay, we don't spend enough time as human beings appreciating and learning and using and knowing what we have. We are focused. It could be because of the consumerism, etc. On what we don't have, and we're very good at saying, you know, I need a new car, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. But let's consider the notion that we want to know more about what we have. Why would that be important? Why would it be important for you to have a sense, an inventory, an internal inventory of what you have access to?
To fully be able to utilize all your assets?
Correct. To fully be able to utilize other assets, your assets and the assets of those with whom you have connections and access to, correct? So this is a really important key to creativity. There's an author named Robert Fritz. You should write this down. He wrote this book called The Path of Least Resistance. And it's basically, he is a graduate of the Boston Conservatory of Music in jazz. And he's interested in how to teach other people how to be more creative. So his formula is, he says in his book, as soon as I hear the word problem solving, that creativity is problem solving, I'm out the door. Okay, so what he's thinking about is that number one, you have to know what you want. This is his view, and I really agree. We're spending time trying to find out what it is that you really want. Step number two is knowing what is. Knowing what is. So what does that mean? What exists? What exists now that you have access to? You can go further. So those are the assets. What's the universe of assets for which you can have access to in order to utilize to get what it is that you want, right? So let's just focus on those two steps of creativity. Because then later on, when you're writing a proposal and you're considering what it is that the proposal wants to actualize out there in the future, you're going to be able to remember, first I need to know what I want to actualize in the physical universe, right? Secondly, I need to have an inventory of my assets so that I can combine those assets to create what I want. Got it? Make sense? And the need comes in at the end, the energy. Okay, so I have all of these assets. Hook the reader, hook the reader, hook the reader. They get excited, and all you need is this little bit amount of money to make this actualize. Okay? So, I want to just go through a few of these just to make sure. So this comes from the Wilder Foundation. And if you want to know more about that, it's on their site. In terms of what the different levels are of risk, right? As you move lower down towards collaboration, it's higher risk. You change the way you do business in a collaborative environment. And then this is what I'm talking about when it comes to genius and creativity. Taking things that you perceive not to have any connections and creating something brand new that has not existed before. So you can do that if you have your available assets and you're cognizant of resources, assets, and possible interrelationships. And if you watch the video, there were examples of that. What does a nursing school have in common with the Morikami Museum and Japanese gardens? Healing, right? And how you can use the gardens for healing, and how the nursing program is interested in these alternative healing places. So, this is what I want you to do now. We're going to do that. For those of you who haven't made your signs yet, we'll have a few minutes to do that. My goal for the session today is to do two major exercises. One is going to be an asset inventory exercise, and the second one is going to be the networking speed meeting exercise. And my goal is to increase the number of interactions that this class has over last year by giving you more time to do that. Now, I'm hoping that my goal will be met. So I'm hoping between 15 and 20 interactions, which means I need about an hour of time to do that. So this first exercise we will do and hopefully finish by 1:30 or before. So you have Post-it notes, these. And then maybe we can raise this. So we're in a moment. We're looking at these three types of assets. Your assets, your institution's assets, and the assets of others. So what we have here are some categories of assets, correct? Labs, equipment, faculty, assets or resources, UF libraries. Do you know that when you go into a database to look for journals that you're going to the library? How many of you know that? Yes, good, hopefully, yes. Associations and organizations, UF other, right? Funding, and then we have an other page over here.
And friends.
And friends. Okay? So as quickly as you can, you're going to use this, and you can have more because we have more Post-its. So we'll give you more if you run out. So in the next 10 minutes, I would like you to write down one asset per Post-it. Okay? And you're going to then put them in in the categories so that we can see what the assets are in the entire room. So you're going to categorize your assets, and we'll have a room full of assets on these pages. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions? I would say the more specific the asset, the more meaningful it's going to be to the rest of the class, okay? So, are we ready? Are we ready to do this? Any questions? Yes?
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of that, like even friends, you could say, a lot
Okay, so let's narrow
for
this
your,
down.
For your research interest.
Yes, I'll help you, exactly. Okay, I forgot to give one instruction. In your research interest, so if you were to visualize what it is that you want to be doing, what it is that you want to study, what it is that you want to investigate, what do you want to discover, it could be, so that outside goal, how many of you don't have that? An outside goal for research or whatever? All of you, okay, so think of, it could be a profession. So if you have a career in mind, but you don't have a specific research interest, you can use that. Any endpoint that you're trying to actualize. So these are all the assets that you are aware of that you could access that would help you. Other questions? We're not going to do this for very long. It's going to be about 10 minutes. Just FYI, people brainstorm about 10 minutes and then they can't. They're done. So go.
And if you need more post-it notes, just raise your hand and I'll come around and give you some additional ones.
We put our name on these, or?
No. Just remember one asset per post-it. And if you're done, or if you want to take a break and you want to come put your Post-its up in the category, go ahead. So you'll be just coming up and putting your Post-its wherever they belong. Yes. Feel free to talk to your neighbor. Feel free to talk to your neighbor. Anybody else? We can put them up for you. Oh, I won't know.
Stick them up, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can just brainstorm as many as you can come up with. You might not have any for a category. Just brainstorm as many as you can.